I'm Larry Ray, President and CEO of American Manganese Inc., listed on the TSX Venture, ticker symbol AMY, A-M-Y, with proprietary patents in the U.S., China, and South Africa. Our focus is on recycling lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles. China recently legislated the responsibility for recycling onto their electric vehicle manufacturers and importers. For more information, please visit AmericanManganeseInc.com or phone me, Larry Ray, at 778-574-4444.
Welcome to Discovery Watch with John Kaiser.
I'm your host, Jim Goddard. Well, first of all, John, maybe you can recap the three basic types of discovery exploration plays.
The three types are, starting off with traditional grassroots exploration, where the prospector, the geologist, they go into an area, they map it, they collect rocks and assay them, and basically look for something that deserves to be a target. And that is what has been done for the past 100 years or so. And the difficulty with this is that unless the area is very remote, probably somebody else has walked through it and picked off anything that's sticking out of the ground. The second type of discovery exploration is where you apply a brand new exploration technology where that is different from what others have applied to a region. So you're kind of like re-exploring a region, but with a different pair of glasses that can see indicators that were not available to previous explorers. And so you can possibly see a brand new target, a virgin target. It's like walking into a frontier. The third type is where an area has seen exploration in the past, perhaps even mining by old style people 50, 100 years ago or so, and has perhaps not been explored with modern technology, or an area that has been explored but with a different geological model in mind, and a new group comes in and says, we think something else is going on here. We're going to test our theory, gather some more information, and then use a drill rig to see if there's something bigger and better here than is already known. Most exploration projects can be classified as one of these three styles of exploration.
I understand you have two examples of each type, which are also current Kaiser research recommendations. Let's start with old-fashioned grassroots exploration.
Okay, one of the stocks that has done amongst the best of my picks this year is Sirius Resources, Inc., which I watched over the past few years as it turned its Chichu project in central Quebec from a sort of a leftover target area into a brand new exploration play that has taken the stock from 7 cents at the start of the year to as high as $1.42 last month, and is now hovering around $1 while a 10,000-meter drill program gets underway. And the analog there is the Eleanor gold mine, about 15-20 kilometers to the northwest, where Goldcorp is now producing 300,000 plus ounces of gold. Will probably do so for the next 10 years and likely for the following 10 years also. And that was a grassroots exploration discovery made by Andre Gaumond's Virginia Gold in 2004, which Goldcorp bought for $750 million and then put into production for another $2 billion capex investment. The Chichu project of Sirius has the potential to be a standalone mine or potential mill feed for the Goldcorp operation. And right now, this 10,000-meter program is focusing on the southeastern corner of the Chichu intrusion, where there's been rumors of visible gold in the trenching that's been done. There's holes in for assay. Quebec Inc. is watching this play very closely. There's a pretty hefty valuation at around $125 million for what is an emerging discovery play.
How good does Chichu have to become to attract a buyout from Goldcorp?
Well, it's interesting that the Goldcorp has a 36% interest in the neighboring Eleanor South project, where East Main is also 36% partner, and Azimut Exploration Inc. is a 26% partner. When the Eleanor project was discovered, there was a big area play around it, and East Main optioned their project, the Eleanor South, from Azimut, and then Goldcorp became a partner. And they did exploration, but never really did find a good explanation for a very large gold arsenic anomaly. And the Chichu project itself, what Sirius ended up with, people didn't go to the trouble to actually check into that area until Sirius did this on its own accord. Now we have a potential discovery rimming this Chichu intrusion, half of which sits on the Eleanor South project, and Azimut is operating the program. They are going to be starting their own drilling program shortly. It's basically the same system. So Sirius doesn't need to make a giant discovery for this to become of value to Goldcorp. Goldcorp already has a foothold in the project to the south. So all they would need to deliver is maybe several million high-grade ounces for it to be worthwhile for Goldcorp to absorb the Sirius company, and then ultimately buy out East Main and Azimut on their project to the south. So here we have two grassroots projects. Azimut Exploration Inc. is a bottom fish recommendation of mine. Sirius has been elevated to a spec value hunter recommendation. This is probably the most closely watched exploration play in Quebec today.
When do you think there will be a return to Farmin appetite for Azimut's prospects in far northern Quebec?
Well, this is the interesting thing about Azimut. Jean-Marc Lulin specializes in gathering data sets that have been generated by other parties, by government entities, and so on, and running various statistical algorithms, and that has turned his attention to northern Quebec, the far northern corner where he sees potential for IOCG projects. And that sort of strategy kind of really suffered in the last 5 years because there was no farm-in interest from the majors, and of course the juniors, they have no mandate to farm into a remote project where that could be an elephant-type discovery, but it's going to take a major to develop it. So I think we're probably still a year away before we have enough of an exploration discovery cycle going where there will be demand for those types of projects, which is why it's good that Azimut is now focused on the Eleanor South project, exploring its half of the Chichu intrusion.
What are your exploration innovation examples?
Well, the first one is Nevada Exploration Inc., and this is a company that I personally own shares in, and it is a bottom fish recommendation. They've spent the last 15 years developing and applying hydrogeochemistry to the basins in northern Nevada. Hydrogeochemistry is old technology. It's what the environmental bodies do when they monitor mines and so on. But what this company did was take advantage of a change in laboratory detection thresholds 15 years ago that allowed one to measure gold in parts per trillion. And that's what gold ends up when it gets dissolved into groundwater. So they developed the protocols for reliably measuring the gold content of groundwater and initiated a sampling strategy in northern Nevada that's resulted in about 6,000 samples collected. It has highlighted several dozen anomalous hotspots that are all on open ground. They have staked 4 of them. The one that has the most excited at the moment is the Grass Valley South project, where an anomaly showed up in the basin, offset from an outcropping area where 5 majors and 13 juniors have in the past 20, 30 years tried their luck with no avail. And in this case here in Nevada, the goal is to find deposits that are hidden under gravel, the basin gravels. It's very difficult to see through them. And the strategy this company is doing is doing recon work over large areas, and where suddenly they see gold showing up in the groundwater. Then they do the traditional work of checking out, well, what can we see in the hills that projects into the basin, and geophysical surveys and so on. It's a way of seeing targets that nobody has ever had the ability to see in the past. And if they make a big discovery, they will be able to duplicate this in many parts of northern Nevada. It has the potential to turn northern Nevada into a new exploration frontier.
What will it take for the market to believe that hydrogeochemistry can unlock Nevada's missing gold?
Well, see, the company has struggled because although you can do case studies all you want, for example, hydrogeochemistry has been applied after the fact to the Twin Creeks gold discovery. That's a 17 million ounce gold mine in northern Nevada. But the market wants to see proof of concept in terms of show us a target that nobody in their right mind would drill, based on conventional targeting methods, and deliver us a discovery. Then we are all in. So that's why the stock is still relatively cheap. The market doesn't believe that this will happen. Once it happens, though, then you would be happy to be owning these shares, because then everybody will want a piece of that action.
We'll have more with John Kaiser on Discovery Watch right after this.
GEM International is a new diamond explorer in the richest diamond-producing country in Africa, located next to the fourth largest producing diamond mine in the world. International Spotlight is on an 1109-carat diamond recently discovered in Africa by a fellow Canadian junior with a proven operator and finance team. GEM International trades on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol GI. Visit us at gemdiamondmining.com.
Welcome back to Discovery Watch. We're speaking with John Kaiser. John, what are your examples of discovery plays rethinking an existing system?
Well, the one that's been the best example is Arizona Mining Inc., whose Hermosa Taylor project in Arizona has yielded a world-class zinc, lead, silver discovery, carbonate replacement style discovery. Ironically, the company during the silver bubble of a few years ago spent $40 million conducting feasibility demonstration work on a silver manganese zinc oxide zone that was outcropping at surface. And the conclusion at the end of the day was, one, it just doesn't work at the metal prices that we have. And two, as an open pit mine, it's going to be a tough slog getting it permitted in Arizona. But then Don Taylor was tasked with checking out what else can we do with this project, and ended up looking at the sulfides in the base of the pit limit, and started thinking, where does this go to? And he did some homework and realized that there is probably a big carbonate replacement system here that stretches for several kilometers. There were some deep holes drilled to the northwest that intersected this stuff at several thousand meter depth. And so he initiated a drill program last year, and lo and behold, we now have a major discovery, probably 100 to 200 million tons, the best thing since Red Dog was found in Alaska. Today on September 8th, they reported the best hole ever, grades in excess of 10% for zinc, ounces of silver in the multiples. It is all coming together, probably end up becoming a 10,000 ton per day underground mine. And this is a classic example of not giving up just because what you have focused on failed to deliver a win for you, putting you on your geological thinking cap and rethinking the project.
Is permitting a problem in that area?
The group, Richard Wark had a company called Augusta, which owned the Rosemont Project, which was developed as an open pit mining scenario, and that encountered an awful lot of resistance. Now, Arizona has quite a few operating mines, and of course, once a mine is operating, nobody bothers with it. So there's a large number of people who oppose mining out of principle in general, in particular open pit mining. In this part of Arizona, there is a potential risk of opposition to a mine. However, this would be an underground mine, and it would create a lot of jobs in the area. It would have a very small visible footprint. So the pessimism about getting a permit is unfounded. It's not going to be as serious a situation as it is if you propose an open pit mine.
And I was going to ask too, modern restoration techniques are very advanced, and I know some places that were open pit mines, after restoration you'd have no idea there'd been a mine there.
That's right. The technology has changed dramatically. Mining companies these days, they as part of their feasibility studies, they have to include a complete reclamation plan, and the cost of that has to be part of the initial calculation as to whether or not the project is going forward. So it is a bit unfair that so many of these environmental groups oppose mining plans in countries like Canada and the United States, where you don't get away with trashing the environment in the way that one used to get away with, and in which companies can get away with in third world regions such as Africa and some of the wilder parts of South America.
John, out of the companies you talked about, which ones do you own?
I own Nevada Exploration Inc. is the only one of the four that we talked about today that I own.
John, thank you so much for chatting with us.
Jim, it was a pleasure.
My guest has been John Kaiser, founder of Kaiser Research, his website, kaiserresearch.com. You're listening to Discovery Watch on HowStreet.com radio. Find us on Twitter at Talk Digital Net. Our YouTube channel is Talk Digital Network. Questions for the program can be sent to info@HowStreet.com. I'm Jim Goddard. Thanks for listening to Discovery Watch.
Comments made on Discovery Watch are an expression of opinion only and should not be construed in any manner whatsoever as recommendations to buy or sell any financial instrument at any time. Archived online at HowStreet.com. Discovery Watch is a production of How Street Media Incorporated.